Is that right? Knew he was coming back?
Jay, oh.
Somebody got a text. All right, what's up?
What was your reaction to the Darius news?
Well, we're obviously very upset for Darius. You know, he's put a lot of work in and very promising rookie season ahead of him. But unfortunately, these injuries happen. He's a great kid. He's going to work hard. He'll recover. And so there's no problem there. I just, we're disappointed for Darius. You know, we had high hopes for him, what he would do for this football team, and we would accomplish his rookie year as a person and all that good stuff. But I know that knowing him and knowing the doctors we have in the rehab that we're going to give him, provide for him, he'll be 100% in no time.
As far as replacing him on the roster, you're going to maybe look at a veteran? You're going to think of going with the guys that you have? What's your thinking at this point?
He was sixth string on the depth chart, you know. We have guys that here in play. You know, we drafted Darius because he's the best player we thought at the time of the draft, and we thought he could really help our football team. Not because we weren't satisfied with the backs we had. We thought he'd be a heck of a player for us. So with Rob and Samaje and what Byron did the other night, flashes he showed, obviously Chris Thompson, Capri Bibbs had a couple big hits. I think we are pretty good at the running back spot.
Coach, coaches like to use preseason games for evaluations. You're playing 4 of them. You've lost a player. Teams always lose players in the preseason. Is the risk versus the reward in playing 4 preseason games? And part 2 of the question is, could you play fewer games and have more inter-squad things like you're doing with the Jets and to get just as much out of the preseason?
Well, probably you could. You know, I think preseason games are still beneficial in a lot of ways. You know, situational work, going against different people, looking at young players who don't get a lot of opportunity throughout practice. You know, when you only practice for about an hour, 45 minutes, or 2 hours a day, that's not a lot of reps when you have individual and special teams and all that in there. So there are going to be guys who don't get a lot of reps. So it's a great opportunity for those guys to show what they can do. In 4 games, gives them that opportunity. So, yes, there's a risk involved, but you know, the way we play our starters or our big-time players are probably going to play a little bit of maybe close to a half the third game and maybe a series or 2 in the second game. So there's not that much risk. Just try to get them in the groove. But you probably could get away with 3 games and a couple inter-squad things. But it is what it is right now. 4 games is what we have to deal with, and we'll make it work.
What is it with Darius, based on what you saw here, that you were most looking forward to seeing what he could add to this offense?
Well, he's an explosive player. You know, he brought, what we didn't really know about him because he didn't do it a lot at LSU was his hands, his catching ability, and his pass blocking skills were pretty darn good. He picked up a safety blitz in the game the other night. So we were impressed with his total package, not just his running skills. But we will continue to be impressed. He will be stronger when he comes back than he is now. And we'll move on with Samaje, Rob, and Chris, and Byron, and Capri.
Jets coming to town. I understand some things were said about Terrell Pryor coming back in the offseason. Have you or will you address that with your team? What's your message there?
Yeah, we'll have a meeting tonight and go over our expectations for this practice session against the Jets. I think it's going to be great work. You know, and Terrell, I think everybody had high expectations for Terrell. It didn't work out. His injury cut his season short, and I don't have any ill will towards Terrell. I have a lot of respect for Terrell as a player and as a person. I'm sure that there's some Twitter battles going on here. It's with Zach or whatever, but it won't be an issue.
Is the value of the Jets coming in here kind of heightened by the fact that you're gonna get running backs playing against a different defense that doesn't know what they're doing as you try to kind of figure out the hierarchy?
Yeah, the running backs and offensive line. It's good for offensive line or young center, Chase, to get make some calls against different looks and go against different type of players. The Jets have a great run defense. They always have. Coach Bowles is one of the best defensive coaches in football, and it'll be a great challenge for us. So. Just to get a different look, different perspective on how they do things, different speed at linebacker. Safeties are very, very good over there, so we have to account for them. I mean, there's a lot of things that they do differently that we'll have to account for, and it'll be interesting to see how we adjust. So running backs, offensive linemen, tight ends in the running game, receivers in the running game. So I think everybody will get a great challenge against these guys.
Jay, 2 guys. With Chris, how much work do you anticipate him getting this week, particularly in the game? And where's Darren at? Do you expect Payne to be back this week?
Payne? Chris who? Oh, Chris. CT. All right. Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes this week with the Jets and practice and see where Chris is at. I think this is really a good session. This bonus couple days with the Jets will really provide us for another type game for us. You know what I mean? So we'll see where he is for the Jets. As far as Payne's going to practice today. As far as the game, I don't know yet.
As far as tomorrow's practice, I know you say you don't want to really go hard 3 days in a row with a different team. What do you expect to get out of tomorrow's practice? Do you expect to have it more be kind of like a game or just kind of, ease it, especially trying to have player management?
Yeah, we're going to have more situational. Like we'll have a 9-on-7 period, just runs, bang it up in the middle there. And then we'll have a lot of 7-on-7 periods, see different coverages. They'll see different coverages. We'll see different coverages. Quarterbacks will. And then some situational work, third down, red zone the next day, and 2-minute, some really good situational work. That's what it's really all about, more situational type stuff going against a different opponent than live. We might do a session live with 2s or 3s maybe, but I'll talk to Coach Bowles about that. That's not for sure yet.
Hey, Jay, what's the latest with Matt Ioannidis? There was some confusion if he was or wasn't getting an MRI. A tweet came out from official account saying he was getting an MRI.
Yeah, he's got a what's he got? He's got a sprained ankle and a slight knee strain. He'll be week to week.
Week to week?
Yeah, as far as the MRI goes, I think he got one.
And but is the goal for him kind of just looking at Arizona at this point?
No, I think Matt's a tough guy. He'll probably get back here tomorrow. Who knows? He's a nut job. So I would think he'll probably be out for the Jets practices and the game, and then I think we'll reevaluate him before the whoever we play the third game. I can't remember.
And then what about Trey Quinn?
Trey Quinn got checked out, and he's cleared. He's okay. They checked out his vitals, and he's good to go.
Thanks.
We're going to see what he can do. How much, it depends how much pain he can deal with. I don't know. I haven't talked to him yet.
Coach, it's going to be your third joint practice in 5 years, or third different team you're going to have joint practices with in just 5 years here. Why do you think some teams don't try that as much as you or, say, the Patriots used to do it every year? Yeah,
Patriots aren't doing it this year. I think for us it just depends on if we can get somebody to come down here. We stay here, and obviously, and then we can't go anywhere else. So we need somebody to come here. And we're fortunate to get the Patriots the first year, and then Houston, and now the Jets came. It's not a do-or-die situation to make or break your season, but it is a benefit, I think, to break up the monotony of training camp, to get somebody else in here and go against somebody different instead of doing, okay, it's 1st and 10 again, okay, let's go third down, against the same people. So it's a great chance to see different looks, different fronts, different coverages, and go against different people, see how they do things.
Just to follow up on that, how early in the spring do you have to set that up, and does it usually rely on your relationships with other coaches around the league?
Usually when we get our once the schedule comes out, our preseason schedule, we look and see who we have, our home games, and then we try to set it up with one of those two opponents for our home games.
In the locker room after the game, Darius Guy said he felt okay. He was smiles, confident, had the lollipop in the mouth. Some reports came out from national media guys that it looked like it might be a meniscus sprain. And then, obviously, the MRI. The next day, we know the outcome. Was that MRI diagnosis a surprise, or did the team go into that thinking that it was going to be an ACL?
Well, we knew he had an injury. The doctors do all their tests on the sideline, and what was said on the sideline to the doctors between us was between us. And we had a pretty good idea that, this thing had to be checked out. Could be some damage in there, and we didn't want to comment on anything until we got the results. I don't know who said he had a sprain or whatever, but it didn't come from us. So we had to wait. We like to wait until we actually do the MRI before we announce that he has a sprain or anything.
I want to circle back on Josh Holsey. Is there any kind of update as to even if he'll be back this season with you guys?
He's on PUP right now, so I imagine he'll miss the first necessary, 8 games? I think 6 games. So after that, we can activate him off of that.
Do you anticipate that being a possibility?
That could be a possibility for sure, yeah.
With the other running backs, what differences have you seen in Samaje and Rob Kelly this year?
I've been impressed with both those guys. A lot of talk's been on Darius, and deservedly so. He's had a great camp in OTAs, but Rob Kelly has lost a little bit of weight. He looks quicker in the hold of me, and Samaje just looks more comfortable to me. He had a couple of nice hits in the game the other night. Powerful, low to the ground runner. So, I think those guys. I think those guys are good backs. We just got to figure out you know, if we're going to use both of them on game day, if Byron Marshall's going to be up, Chris Thompson, we have a lot of work to do before we decide who's going to be our number one back or our feature back or who's dressing on game day. We'll just let it play out and see what happens.
Jay, we always hear coaches talk about the next man up mentality, and players talk about it too. When you have an injury like Darius, which is obviously kind of demoralizing, it's, you know, somebody a lot of people were excited about and counting on. Do you address it with the team in a different way than just next man up, or is that just kind of understood and you go on?
That's understood. I think a lot of people are disappointed. Darius has a great personality and showed flashes of, you know, what kind of special back he is going to be. He will be. He's still going to be that guy. Once he rehabs it and gets better, he'll be 100% and then some when he gets back. However, you know, I don't think anybody's going to blink now that he's out. Obviously, we do have to have the next man up mentality, and that next man up or men up, we can do it by committee. Rob Kelly, Samaje, we feel great about. Samaje had a couple back-to-back 100-yard games last year. Rob Kelly had 100 yards at halftime against the Rams before he got injured. So, and obviously we know what Chris Thompson's all about. So we'll have it covered, no problem. But we are disappointed.
Pull the running backs aside specifically and just kind of try to put a little spur in their buns or whatever and kind of challenge them a little bit?
You know what? No, those guys don't need challenge. Rob and Samaje and those guys, these guys are pros, and they've worked extremely hard, and they're battling for the starting spot. Even when we drafted Darius, and nobody had given anybody a starting spot yet. You know, we're all competing, and that'll never change. They're competitive guys. They want to be great, and Randy's going to coach them up, and then I'll decide who the guys are on game day.
Jay, how'd Sean Dion look once you went back and evaluated the tape, and how did he recover from probably the most action he's had in a couple of years? Probably.
Yeah, he's a little sore. He might sit out today, but I was impressed with Sean Dion. A couple alignment mistakes here and there, but for the most part, I like the way he's moved around and ran, and I think he's going to be an excellent player for us. You know, once he gets his legs back under him 100%, instinctually, you know, you can see he's got the natural instincts you need at linebacker. So he's an impressive kid. You just got to get his legs under him, and that'll happen soon.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.